When night settles over the hospital, the whole building changes. The place that buzzes with people during the day turns hollow and strange, its hallways heavy with a silence so deep it feels alive. The walls seem to absorb sound. The lights flicker as if they're tired, and the rhythmic beeping of distant machines starts to blend into a low hum that crawls under your skin. I live inside that silence. I'm the janitor who cleans the hospital floors when everyone else has gone home. My nights belong to the smell of disinfectant, the dull squeak of the mop bucket's wheels, and the faint echo of my own footsteps following me like a ghost that refuses to keep its distance. That night started like any other. The air outside was sharp with cold, snow pressed against the windows, and the sky hung heavy and gray. I had just finished the 3rd floor and was pushing my cart toward the elevator. The sound of the wheels echoed down the empty corridor, bouncing back to me in slow, uneven beats. The fluorescent lights hummed above, some flickering weakly, their color too white, too sterile. I didn't see a single person as I reached the elevator. When the doors closed around me, the air felt thicker, as if the building itself was exhaling. I pressed B, the basement, my least favorite floor. The air down there always felt older, like it had been trapped for decades, heavy with dust and mold and something else, something I could never quite name. When the doors opened, that familiar cold hit me like a breath from underground. The tiles were darker than the upper floors, slick in spots, the grout blackened with years of neglect. The smell of wet concrete and old detergent lingered in the air. The light at the end of the corridor flickered irregularly. It wasn't the kind of flicker that came from a bad bulb. It pulsed, almost rhythmically, like the heartbeat of the building. I started pushing my cart forward, counting my steps like I always did. 15 to the supply room, then a left turn. But that night, 15 steps didn't get me there. I took 20, then 25. The hallway should have ended. It didn't. The signs on the walls had changed. Where there should have been laundry and storage, there were now rusted frames with no labels, paint peeling off in flakes. At the end of the corridor stood a door I'd never seen before. It wasn't metal like the others. It looked like thick wood, painted over several times, the color impossible to tell. A faint draft seeped from underneath it, carrying a smell like old paper and damp dust. I touched the handle. It was freezing. The hinges screamed softly as I opened it. Behind it wasn't a room, but another corridor, narrower, darker, the ceiling lower. Large pipes ran along the top, dripping water at irregular intervals. The walls were rough concrete, scarred and uneven, with black streaks that looked like burn marks. I raised my flashlight. The beam cut through the dust like a knife through smoke. There was a faint slope to the floor, and puddles had formed in the cracks between tiles. My reflection rippled faintly on the surface. A few meters ahead, something metallic lay overturned. A surgical table, maybe, its leg bent, rust eating at its surface. Beside it lay a broken test tube, a piece of gauze hardened into a crust. But there were no footprints, no tracks, no dust disturbed around it. The place looked untouched for years, yet everything was arranged with purpose, as if someone had been here recently, setting a stage and waiting for an audience. Then my light caught a metal plaque on the wall. I wiped the dust with my sleeve and squinted. The words were faded but still legible. Sterile area, "Do not enter." The letters had been scratched, parts gouged out with something sharp. I frowned. There was no sterile area in the basement. Not that I knew of. I turned to leave and froze. The corridor behind me was gone, swallowed in total darkness. No trace of the elevator light, no glint of the steel doors. My own breath echoed back, hollow and unfamiliar. That was when I heard it. A sound, faint but deliberate. Tink, tink, tink. Metal striking metal, steady and slow. Then a drip of water. Then silence. Then again, tink. Someone or something was hitting the pipes. I followed the sound. My flashlight shook slightly in my hand. The noise led me around a corner where the wall was scorched black, the concrete pitted and warped. And there, half submerged in a puddle, was something that made my stomach twist. A janitor's cart. Same brand, same color, same worn-out handle. The hospital logo on the side was faded, almost gone. I approached it slowly, light trembling over its surface. The mop inside was stiff and dry, the bucket empty. Hanging from the handle was a plastic tag, yellowed and cracked, but I could still read the initials. GM, my initials. For a moment, I thought my brain had played a trick on me. Maybe someone else had worked here before, years ago. Maybe the tag was coincidence. But when I brushed the dust away, I saw something scratched into the side of the bucket. 4 numbers. 2019. I stared at it until my throat tightened. I started working here in 2025. Something moved behind me. The sharp drag of metal scraping across tile. I spun around. Nothing. The beam of my flashlight trembled across the walls, catching only the glint of dripping water. My pulse thudded in my ears. I tried to swallow, but my mouth was dry. I took a step back and felt my shoe slide slightly on the wet floor. My hand touched the wall for balance and felt a hole. It wasn't a crack or damage, it was deliberate. A gap large enough for a hand. From inside, warm air blew gently against my skin, humid and steady, like the breath of something alive. My flashlight dimmed. The battery warning blinked once, twice. I shook it, desperate to keep the light alive. When it flickered back, I saw something on the ground that hadn't been there before. Wet footprints, bare human prints, appearing one by one in the thin layer of water, coming toward me. The steps were slow, measured, the water rippling outward with each new print. My body locked. The light caught nothing. No legs, no figure, just those prints advancing. I backed away, breathing hard. The sound of water under my feet matched the rhythm of my heartbeat. Then, suddenly, the flashlight died. The darkness swallowed everything, and in that suffocating silence, a new sound rose. Soft, deliberate footsteps, bare feet on wet tile, the faint slap of skin against stone. Closer, closer. A smell reached me, sharp, metallic, unmistakable, blood and rust. I didn't move. Couldn't. Every muscle in my body was screaming, but I was frozen. Then, inches from my ear, I felt it, a breath, warm, human, slowly moving down from my temple to my neck. The light snapped back on. The corridor was empty. The prints were gone, but the wall ahead had cracked open. Behind it lay another chamber, dark, silent, the air thick and heavy. I lifted the light and stepped closer. There was a table inside, a white sheet draped over it. Something lay beneath. When I pulled the sheet back, I saw a uniform, my uniform. The hospital janitor's outfit, still damp, with my name tag clipped to the pocket. The sight knocked the air from my lungs. I stumbled backward. From somewhere behind me came the faint creak of a rope. I raised the light again. Hanging from the ceiling was a loose noose, swaying gently. That was when panic hit. I turned and ran, splashing through the water, not caring where I was going. Every direction looked the same, dark, endless concrete. My breathing echoed like someone else was running beside me. The corridor twisted, the lights above gone completely now. Then ahead, I saw the elevator doors. Metal, dull, familiar. I ran harder, slammed my hand on the button. Nothing. The light was dead. I hit it again, until my hand stung. My breath fogged the air in front of me. Behind me, the footsteps returned. Slow, deliberate. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. I could feel them coming closer. My body knew. My hand was still pressed against the elevator button when something touched my shoulder. A hand. Cold. Heavy. Human. I turned. Someone stood there, dressed exactly like me. The same faded uniform, the same gloves, the same hospital patch. The fabric was soaked, torn in places. The head hung low, chin against chest. I couldn't see the face, only the mouth, and the faint motion of lips moving without sound. Then, a whisper, low and broken, crawled out between breaths. I never got out. The light died. The elevator doors opened on their own. Inside was only darkness and the smell of earth and rust. I don't remember stepping forward. I don't remember falling. But the next morning, they said they found a name tag floating in a puddle outside the basement elevator. Mine.